I don't know if you've noticed it, but the light at this time of year is absolutely fantastic. Well, it is for the wet, basically. So we have our artists that come in our autumn, basically, and for the light. Now, we probably don't need so much for this because, I don't know, or do we? Yeah, we do, because the perlite's going to absorb some, isn't it? So we're probably going to need the full whack. Let's see how we go then. We're going to work with the full whack. Yeah, I think so. Actually, we may well, we probably don't need that much more, but it's going to mix with. Okay, so when we mix it with this, it should all settle down, basically. Whoa! There we go. It should all equalise it somehow, to a certain degree, anyway. So now we've got 4 parts of sand, 2 parts of newspaper cellulose, 2 parts of perlite, and 2 parts of potato starch so far. We're going to add a 3rd part with the 1/3 poly section in a minute, sort of thing. Then we'll add our modest fertilisation and our egg yolks. Yeah, it seems to be mixing all right, so I think we're pretty on the money there, so it should be a good one when we set it up in the bucket. Okay, so the perlite's there basically just for housing for the organism, cubby house for the organism to grow in, and as a reservoir, cubby house basically. The newspaper cellulose is a slow food sugar source for the penicillium to chomp through, and then that will be followed by Generica australis, which is the ensheathing organism. Yeah, most people don't seem to understand that we have a Mediterranean climate, and Mediterranean is sort of like code word for basically 2 seasons. The autumn and the spring are so narrowly defined by the coastal regions, of either around the coast or around the Mediterranean. You just basically have 2 seasons. One season is basically when the soil is damp and wet, stays continually wet, damp to wet, and the dry when it's basically dry, basically. And that's what happened. And of course all the bulbous, cormous and tuberous plants in this country, they grow during the wet when the soil is permanently damp to wet to a certain degree. Whenever it dries out for 3 or 4 days, that's when they automatically go into dormancy. Even if it rains after the 3 or 4 days of wet, once they've committed themselves to dormancy, they're gone, basically. This is what's so interesting about Drosophila gigantea, because that starts to go dormant on good years in like the first 2 weeks of December, and then it's coming back up again, and this is like from 2 meters down below between the sand and the clay layer, 2 meters deep, if not more, where these like hand-sized, potato-sized tubers sit at the interface between the sand, basically, and the clay zone. So you've got these hand-sized tubers sort of thing, and you're being sold these little tiddly pop things from the granite aprons, because they're so small, because the depth is so small, so shallow. And of course you know why. It's because they're easy to harvest when they're only going down a couple of centimeters. You can easily pick them out. You can easily find where they are, because there's still remnant vegetation on the surface. You don't have to wade through any deep swamp or anything like that, or muddy situations. You're not going to get your car bogged or something, So you can see why you're being fobbed off by these little miniature. I'm not suggesting that you should go bit digging, but I'm just saying you don't really understand. You've got a plant that grows the size of a small tree, and it grows so quickly and so regularly, going back into dormancy and back out of dormancy, that you've got to ask yourself the question, there's got to be something else going on there, and they can't be, in quotes, so-called nutrient poor plants to pack that much energy, that much growth into a plant, into a bog or swamp or plant or the bottomland sort of thing of the ecosystem. So, You've got to realise there's got to be something else going on there, fellas, and I think we're going to find out. I think we've already determined that your ideas about copper, and that the fact that copper is the highest micronutrient found in peat, just puts you at odds with all the scientific research and books out there. And there's got to be a new theory on the landscape, basically. So yeah. Anyway, I think we'll start the next clip in a minute. Okay.